Yes, people, welcome back to Real Ball Talk. I hope everyone's had a good weekend enjoying the Euros. Weather wasn't great at the weekend. I'm not sure if summer's not meant to be a summer, but it is what it is, man. What are you saying, Jadon? You good?
Yeah, man, good man. I think the rain's all touch, man, and that. Do you know what I mean? I'm feeling blue. Got blue top on, got blue hat on. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, man. Feeling blue today. Do you know what I mean? So hopefully we can talk about good football, bring my spirit up, and that. Hope you boys are well, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah. 100%. What are you saying, Rash?
Everything's good, alhamdulillah. Just finished a long day's work. Just happy to unwind now, watch some ball. Come talk to you, man, about the weekend's events.
Yeah. Good to hear, man. 100%. There's a lot to talk about. And last but not least, Jeff, what are you saying, bro?
Yeah, man. All good, man. Ready to talk about England shenanigans, man.
Yeah, English shenanigans, boy. Yeah, if England had won that first game, that £50 bet you did might not have looked that bad.
Trust me.
So yeah, it just goes to show fine margins. But yeah, people, obviously, as you come in, make sure to smash the likes if you're new. Subscribe. We're on the way to 300 subscribers, so wherever you can to help us share all of that good stuff. Make sure you guys help us out with that, as you always have been. So much love for that. And we're definitely going to be touching on. We'll start off with the England game. We're going to have a specific discussion on Harry Kane and general team selection. But we'll start off with the game as a whole. England 0, Scotland 0. It was the big game, a lot of hype around it. I was seeing the videos on Twitter of Scotland fans moving crazy in Leicester Square, jumping in puddles of water with no tops on. So they came ready. And to be fair to Scotland, they played well. I can't lie. I actually thought Scotland played very well, kept the ball well. England were very, very underwhelming. And a lot of questions come out of that game for Gareth Southgate. So yeah, Jalil, man, let me start off with you, bro. What did you make of the England-Scotland game?
Yeah, man. I think by the 30th to 40th minute, Southgate should have realised that he should have changed stuff up. I think it was a bit of a. I don't want to swear online. What do we used to call people that was scared back in school? Pussy old move. Do you know what I mean? Like, he was being a pussy, fam. Yeah. Scared. I mean, don't get me wrong. If you look at the bigger picture and we win tomorrow night, it was a good move. But he doesn't really like playing that entertaining football. Do you know what I mean? So it was a bit of a weird one, man. I ran through some of the stats of the boys, man. I know the Scotland boys had more touch on the ball. The midfield, let's just say the midfield battle was won by the Scotland boys, Gilmour and them, man. There, McGinn and that. But I've done the business part, unfortunately, compared to, Phillips, Rice, and then Mount. And even if you look at Foden, and I got challenged with this. Foden played on the right wing, and the majority of his passes went back. And only 20% of his passes went forward, which was a bit of a shame to see when you're looking at Sterling always going positive, and then you've got Foden going back. Maybe that's the way he's been told to play and everything, but I don't know, man. I was expecting a bit more from the kid. Harry Kane, non-existent, not the kind of game he should have been in my opinion. But I know we're going to touch on this anyway. But just before I do touch on it, centre backs again done the business in my opinion. I know no one's going to rate them, but I'm going to give them the growth. I think Mings' contract with WWE got cancelled. I think he's a football player, boys. I don't think he's a wrestler anymore. He done really well, man. In my opinion, done really well. First game, against Croatia, he kept punting it up, giving it to them. Losing the ball and that. He's more conservative. He won his battles. Stones as well. Fullbacks, good to see Shaw back and. Yeah, James done all right as well, man. I don't really rate James, I'll be honest with you, but he played good. So all in all, good. But I feel like the last thing I'm going to say is Sancho sitting on the bench is a crime in itself, and I think Southgate needs to go down for 10 years. I don't know how you've got someone who's contributed. I know, mate. I'm saying some wild shit tonight. Well, I've got more to say, but I'm going to keep it short, man. But yeah, Southgate to leave a boy who's had more than 34, 36 contributions in a league and all competitions. It's kind of weird when you compare it to the people he's playing and that. But yeah, it is what it is, man. Yeah, he's a pussy, bro. I've got to be real with you.
Shit.
Yeah, but however, if all comes well and we win tomorrow night, he might have done the right thing. Maybe he needed to keep it, get that point. But we'll see how it gets.
Yeah, man. I mean, you started off quite light and then you kind of went ham at the end. Southgate was getting it in the neck still. But yeah, no, I definitely hear you. Big up Falak. Hope you're good, Falak. Appreciate that suggestion you gave us over the weekend. We'll definitely be looking to do that. But hello, gentlemen. I see we're discussing the worst game of the weekend. Let's chuck the Kane in the bin. Boy, yeah, we're gonna be talking about Harry Kane. There's been a lot of chat about him this weekend. We'll get onto that. But Rash, man, talk to me, man. The game, bro. Like, what did you make of it?
Well, Jalil's kind of broke it down very well. You know what I'm trying to say? He's saying, I think, what most of the people who watched the game thought. But one thing I can say is that Scotland bring their battle attire. Yeah, and they made it very difficult for England. They were putting themselves about. They were pushing people over. They were barging them. They were making them feel very uncomfortable on the ball. When it comes to Foden going back, every time he touched the ball, there was 3 players around him. You know, and they was kicking at his heels. They was pushing him over. They was letting him know that you're a kid in this thing. And it seems like, look, the Scottish manager, I don't know whether he said it or not, but it seems like, look, technically they can't really stand up to England. Yeah, they're on a different level. But what they can do is get at them physically. And you could see it really irritated the England squad. Do you know what I mean? It made them quite negative in areas where they was positive. And Phillips, I think, was very quiet throughout the game. Even when he tried to go forward, he couldn't. He ended up going backwards and side to side. And it was a contrast to the game that he had previously. Raheem, he tried to do a lot, but there just wasn't a lot on for him, and it felt like in the end he ended up doing too much, and I think it's because of the physicality of Scotland. A lot of the English players wanted to prove that they could go toe to toe with them, and in that trying to prove them, they weren't sticking to a game plan, you know, if there was one. One of the best players on the pitch for England was Mings. I think he had a brilliant game. In the back. I think he was one of the most solid players for England, and if there was a game plan, he was the one who stuck to it. Other than that, there wasn't much good to say about England. I thought it was very scrappy from both sides. You know, it was entertaining. It was entertaining. You know what I mean? They both put themselves about, and the ball was up and down, up and down. When Scotland had a period where they gained control towards the end of the first half as well, which they looked a bit dangerous. They could have had a couple chances as well. And in the second half towards the end as well, or the mid-end as well, they had a lot of good chances where it looked like England were in danger. England did have a few chances right at the end, you know, but again, Scotland, you know, ready to die for the game. They threw about 6 men in front of the ball to make sure that the ball didn't go anywhere near the goal, which is good to see, do you know what I mean? They played with a lot of heart. Southgate, I mean, Jalil was saying maybe that's what he played for, the point, but I can't see why any manager would. I mean, in competition football, you play to win. Yeah, and he's obviously playing it very safe, and that's what kind of pees me off with Southgate and England teams in general. You know, they always gas themselves up, hype themselves up to be that we're going to have a good year. It's going to be our tournament. You know, they got a good squad, good selection, and they talk about all the different types of tactics that they're going to use. But then when they get to the pitch, or when the Euros start, or when the World Cup starts, they play the safe game. You know, everyone can see that Harry Kane hasn't been having a good tournament so far. So maybe it's time just to put him on the bench. One, to let him know, look, your place is not cemented out here. You've got to work hard. And it's clear the guy needs a rest. It doesn't look like he's got energy. Do you know what I mean? In that game, he was non-existent. He didn't trouble Scotland at all. I mean, there was a time when he almost had the opportunity to open up, and he ended up playing it wide, I think, to Sterling. Sterling missed the pass when he was trying to play it out further. But it just seemed to me that Southgate needs to stop being shook now and do what he came to do, which is play risky football, play a risky team. Do you know what I mean? He's shut our mouths up a few times because he's played a team selection that we wouldn't have selected. Maybe we would have picked the safer squads at some points where he's picked the team. But now it just seems like, okay, I just want to maintain. And in tournament football, you can't do. You got to go for it. seeing people like Sancho, Grealish, Bellingham on the bench, Calvert-Lewin on the bench, players that can really make a strong impact. Rashford on the bench. I mean, look, I'm not Rashford's biggest fan. Do you know what I mean? And but for England, he does okay, and he's a player that can create a lot of play. And look, he should have seen that. Look, he should have known Scotland's tactics was going to be to try and bully England off of the game with their power. So he should have put a few more experienced players on the pitch, players who know how to play the game, how to be physical as well. Couple black men on the pitch, you know what I'm trying to say, who can handle themselves. You know what I'm saying? And he didn't. So waiting to see his next team selection and see if he's learned from his mistakes. But it seems like Southgate has a serious issue, and if he doesn't get that sorted out, England's going to be walking out of this tournament.
Yeah. That was very, very well said. And I think there are many questions for Southgate. England do always hype themselves up before every tournament, and then they never play like a team on the front foot. Like, you want them to go down swinging, but they just go out very passive. Like, so, and sometimes that's what you don't want to see, especially as a fan. So Jeff, man, what else have you got to add on that?
Boys basically said a lot, but that I agree with. England just shit, man. If I'm honest, they always will be. Like, I think it doesn't matter what kind of era you have. Like, this is meant to be. There's a lot of players in that England squad who are on the cusp of greatness, and they're still shit. Like, they're just, it's not even a Southgate problem. Southgate is useless. Don't get me wrong, but England is an England problem. Like, any manager who manages England is gonna have a hard time. It don't matter who you put there. You could put Pep there, and you're gonna get the same result because England are just no good. Like, it's an unimaginative performance. Even the defense. I know we're saying that the defense played well, but did they? Like, how many clear-cut chances does Scotland make? Che Adams,
2 or 3 decent chances.
Che Adams was dropping in between midfield and defense and causing havoc. Like, they didn't know what to do with Che Adams, and that doesn't even make sense to me. Like, Che Adams is decent, don't get me wrong, but he's a second striker. If he was a better finisher, put someone who's a punisher up there. If Scotland had one, and England lose. Scotland played better than England to me. Midfield, the Calvin Phillips thing, don't worry, he played really well in the first game, but he's kind of doing he's been asked to do something that he doesn't do. Like, he's not an attacking midfielder. That's not his role. He's there to break up play. So that one, like, I guess it worked in the first game. He got all the plaudits, cool, but it's not going to work every game. I think everyone needs to realize that. Declan Rice was very, very quiet again for me. If I'm being honest, Gilmour and McGinn ran the show in midfield.
Sure did.
England were nowhere near them. And don't get me wrong, McGinn is a good player. All right, Billy Gilmour is like got potential for Chelsea. He played 5 Premier League games last season. He was tied in 15 minutes, and he was better than more experienced midfielders on the pitch. That kind of says everything you need to know about England. Sterling, again, like, I know it worked in the first game. He played well in the first game, good movement for the goal, but it just looked like the Sterling of this season to me, where it wasn't great. Like, he might have been the best out of the front three, but that's not a compliment. Foden didn't play well, but there's reasons for that, which we're probably going to get into, is linked to Kane. Like, there really isn't any creativity in that. Like, Foden gets the ball, and it's the same thing I say about, like, Arsenal and Saka. Like, when you're looking to a 20-year-old, no matter how good they are, if you're looking to a 19-year-old to rescue all of your problems, there's a major issue there. So there's that. Kane isn't firing on all cylinders. That's clear to see. He should be dropped, but it don't matter who you put up there, really. England, that unless you fix the midfield, that front three ain't gonna click. Like, that midfield is, to me, it's not working. Maybe with Mount out because of self-isolation, let's see what changes. Let's see if he's gonna take a risk and put Grealish or Foden in there, or is he just gonna put Henderson, Rice and Phillips. Like that could easily happen.
Yeah.
All in all, man, you couldn't tell who was ranked higher in that game. And I think I said I even said before, I thought Scotland were going to win. I was being deadly serious. I honestly thought Scotland were going to win.
Yeah, you were. Yeah, you were. To be fair, yeah.
But yeah, man. Listen, it don't matter what team England have. You could have Messi, Ronaldo, R9, Xavi, Iniesta. If they're playing for England, it's not going to work.
Yeah. And I think that speaks a bit to England's curse. I don't know what it is about them. Big up KD in the building, as always, saying Kane is moving like a bum. I never thought I'd say this, but it might have to be a don't Calvert-Lewin flex up front.
Jesus.
Yeah, that's been thrown about. I think you guys mentioned a lot of players, and I agree with all that. I thought Rice was very average. I thought Phillips looked uncomfortable in his role, which I kind of saw bits of that in the first game, but I think he just had a game of his life where he kind of just started off pumped and the momentum kept him going. But no one's really spoken about Mount, and it's not to cuss Mount, but what is his role in this team? Does anyone know?
Can I just say something on Mount? Look, it seemed like Mount was more interested in having battles with Gilmore than anything else.
Yeah.
It seemed like they were both like, we're on the training pitch together. I know I'm better than you, but because Gilmore was really going at it, it seemed like that was his main focus. He didn't have a good game as well. I mean, yeah, he tried. Most of them tried, but it just wasn't good enough. I think there definitely needs to be a big change in that midfield because they look like they've got no creativity in them. Like a lot of them were going forward and then turning back and then playing it back and then playing out wide to Shaw. Shaw was making more attempts to get forward and whip a ball in than them. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It was a shambles. The game was a shambles. There was a lot of fighting going on, like not a lot of ball. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And for a club that is ranked as high as England and for a club that is ranked as low as Scotland, I mean, what, they the third lowest ranked team in the tournament? Lowest ranked, come on, you couldn't even, as Jeff said, you couldn't even tell who was better than who. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, I think there's big warning signals right there, man. Big warnings.
Go on, Jeff.
I was gonna say, even your point on Mount, like for Chelsea, he plays kind of like off the left. That's kind of like what he does, and it works well for him. But he's being used as like, I don't even know what he's being used as.
I don't know.
It's like Phillips. Phillips is the attacking one, and Mount is almost doing the role Phillips does for Leeds. It doesn't make any sense. Like,
it doesn't make sense. What's going on?
I'm completely confused. Like, if the guy's he probably had arguably the best season out of everyone there, and playing in the way he played for Chelsea, wouldn't you just let him operate that way? Yeah. But you kind of like switched roles and let one player play in a position he doesn't normally play in a free. And Mount is doing Phillips' role. It's like, this isn't working. Like it's
all over the place. And you know what the weirdest thing is? I think if you ask anyone what's Declan Rice's best attribute, maybe even more than his interception, is his ability to run with the ball. But with the role he plays for England, he's not even allowed to do that. So you'd almost think Declan Rice would be better driving with the ball than Calvin Phillips and have Calvin Phillips sitting back. But then, like you said, it's just like everyone's all over the place. You got Harry Kane dropping deep, which probably plays a part to why Foden can't pass forward because his striker's behind him.
I saw something. I saw something today that someone said Harry Kane was dropping so deep that he was trying to get ratings for the clean sheet.
That's a low, bro.
But at the same time, think about it. He was. I mean, when was he the most advanced player on the pitch? He wasn't. He wasn't doing classic Kane hold-up play. You know what I mean? He was getting kicked down like, oh man, bad game. He's had a few bad games.
He was getting bullied as well. Anyway, we're gonna get on to Kane very shortly, but let's do some quick player ratings for the game. Jalil, let me start off with you. What do you make of Pickford's performance?
Yeah, you see him. I tell a lie. He made a couple good saves, didn't he? And when he got fast, he can hold it. He's standard to me, but he can hold the sticks.
6. Yeah, I think 6 is fair for Pickford. Reece James.
Right, so I didn't see much of him. I didn't see the normal play that going up the ring, the strong defensive fullback that we know of him. You know what I mean? He was getting kind of overrun on that side a few times, man. I'd say he only had a game that probably could only get a 4 maximum, man.
Okay. I would have given him 5, but I see why he wasn't really involved.
I think he was below average.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that at all because 5 is average, so I'm not mad at that. John Stones, Jeff.
I guess he can hold a 6. Not too. Yeah. None. Like if I had my weight, the whole back line will get a 5. But I guess if you get a clean sheet, then it means something. I guess, right? But yeah, 6.
6. All right, 6 for a rather reluctant 6 for John Stones. Jalil, Tyrone Mings.
Mings for me was probably England's best player. Not just looking at stats. I'm not a stats man really, but I obviously watching the game, and I tend to analyze the defense and stuff. For me, he was probably our best player. He can hold a 6 and all.
Okay, 6 for Mings. Rash Luke Shaw.
I think Shaw had I think a 5 would be just for him. He did try.
Yeah, I agree. 6 for Luke Shaw. Obviously, people get involved. Leave your ratings in as we go through them. Jeff, Declan Rice.
4.
Yeah, I agree with that. I thought it was below average, 100%. And Jalil, Calvin Phillips.
3.
Ooh, I would have given him a 4, but I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at it.
It's not his fault. Look, it's not his fault. When someone's asking you to do something you shouldn't do, I think both Rash and Jeff both touched on it, right? He's kind of doing something that he's not been doing all season, and he's been playing really well all season for Leeds. And when you're asked to do something that you're not meant to do, and you don't really do the job, I don't really blame you, but with kind of performance and stuff, you put someone else there that's meant to be there, would have done a better job. Do you know what I mean? Who's meant to play in that role? Unfortunately, he didn't cut it. He obviously, first game done really well, but this game, unfortunately, got out bossed by Scotland players. So, yeah, I can't have that. You got older 3.
Okay, 3 for Calvin Phillips. Rash, Mount.
Mount can hold a 5.
Okay, average 5, yeah. And then Jeff, Foden.
5 maybe. Yeah, I'll go over 5. Was far from great, but then again, who was? England team was dire. So yeah, 5.
Yeah, 5 for, and then Jalil, Harry Kane.
Harry Kane can hold a 3. I was talking about the stats with Foden before, and I said loads of his passes were back, and then I just realised when the boys were saying, well, I think Rash said it, he's trying to get a clean sheet. He was that deep, do you know what I mean? So if no one's up there, how's Foden going to pass forward to you? Do you know what I mean? How is he going to be positive? What, do you want him to just run up the ball and then get tackled and lose the ball? Do you know what I mean? That goes against what he stands for. Do you know what I mean? He likes to hold up the ball, do the business. So Sterling's the most famous player in front. Sterling, unfortunately, is on the other side of the pitch. So who's meant to come short? Do you know what I mean? So for that reason, 3, yeah, man. He didn't do fuck all, bro. I was trying to claim a clean sheet, get the fuck out of here, bro.
I am telling you,
he's angry, bro.
That broke your heart because you're an England fan, bro. So
yeah,
I know you're feeling it.
He was probably out in Leicester Square with the Scottish lads.
Come on his belly.
Have it
in the rain.
Let's have it.
All right, and Rash, Sterling.
Sterling tried, man. I can't knock him for that. I'll give him a 6. He tried.
Yeah, I'm not mad at 6 for Sterling. He did try. He's probably going to end up getting the blame. Big up Fred. Hope you're good, bro. Say, why were they acting like Grealish was their savior?
Yeah, I see that.
I mean, yeah, I see that. I think it's just because he's not playing, people are clamoring for him. Like, I rate Jack Grealish very highly. I mean, obviously he's not a savior, but like Jeff said, I think Messi could walk into this team. Prime Messi and still not fix it. I mean, he might help, but fix, I don't know, man. But yeah.
For me, I have a problem with English pundits and commentators anyway when it comes to players of overhyping them and overrating them. Look, to be honest, Grealish did come on and he did try a thing. The game did change when he came onto the pitch, and he does have a confidence and a swagger about him, but he couldn't fix that game. He couldn't fix that.
Nah, man, no one could fix that game. But listen, let's move on to the main topic of debate, Southgate selection, and particularly Harry Kane. So just quickly looking at some numbers for Harry Kane in tournaments. So obviously Euro 2016, he played 4 games, scored 0 goals. That's the famous tournament that we all remember where he was taking the corners for some reason. Then the World Cup 2018, obviously he got the Golden Boot, 6 goals, 6 appearances. We're going to look at that in a bit more detail in a sec. And then obviously Euro 2020, 2 games, 0 goals. So all in all, he's got 6 and 12. And we've got the little fun fact at the bottom that 5 of Harry Kane's goals were actually against Panama and Tunisia. And I think that's very important context because essentially 5 of his goals were in group stage games at the World Cup against really 2 of probably the worst 3 teams in the whole tournament. Outside of that, he's got 1 goal in 7 games, and that was a penalty against Colombia. So I think a lot of that stuff is getting bypassed. People are getting on his back, asking why he's not playing well. So I guess I'll come to you guys first. Jalil, man, talk to me about Harry Kane. What's going on?
Yeah, rightly so. If you're not doing the business, you deserve everything that comes your way. Do you know what I mean? And the funny thing is, it's actually not people getting onto their back. The pundits haven't really said too much about the geezer.
Yeah,
just
pundits,
saying
true.
Well, the pundits have actually given him a leeway, saying maybe it's the people around him. I wonder who they're talking about. So anyway, let me not get onto it. Obviously, us as people who analyze the game and we watch the game and we talk about the game after the game and that, we understand what's going on. Unfortunately, Harry Kane just ain't cut for it at the moment. I'm not sure what's going on. He had a great season under Jose. He hit the big numbers and no one can doubt that, big up Jose. But yeah, why is this happening, man? I mean, I think, us as, well, not even you, man, but me as an English fan, English fan, but me as a popular, okay, cool. I feel that everybody is doing, everybody's rated a bit highly than they expected, especially when we play all together. I kind of go back to the golden days with, Steven Gerrard, Lampard, Rooney, Ferdinand at the back. Do you get what I'm saying? With that setup, I'm kind of looking at that. Maybe I'm wrong for it, but I'm kind of looking at that as the setup we got now with the boys. I'm like, what? We got Foden, we got Sterling, we've got Harry Kane up top, we've got man in midfield. Maybe I'm looking at that, and that's probably my mistake. And with everything, all in all, I think when it comes to team selections, everything needs to get changed except for the back, because the back has kept a clean sheet. Until we go up against, the French, the Germans, whoever we get next, depending we go through, then that 2 DMs does kind of make sense, if that makes sense. That 2 DMs does make sense. You want to kind of keep a clean sheet and that. Or not to keep a clean sheet, just defend as much as possible, But having said that, I think Harry Kane for tomorrow's game against the Czech Republic, even though we know he's not getting dropped, he needs to get dropped. I mean, I think we need to try something a bit different. Maybe Calvin Lewis needs to come on and just put balls into the box. Sancho won in the game, and then you put what's my fella's name? What's his name? And Grealish, another side. Grealish, and then see what's in there. Those guys create. If we're not going to get creation from the midfield, and if you want to play 2 DMs again, which God knows it's going to happen. Do you know what I mean? He's going to do it again. Don't know why, but he's keeping them clean sheets. Maybe it's part of the plan. We don't know yet. Then do it, but let's put on some creative players who's not scared to take risks. Like Sancho, not scared to do the business. Grealish ain't scared. I mean, I'm not sure what it was about. As soon as he kept going on the screen, all the English fans were clapping for him. I was sitting and drinking my Krabby's ginger beer on the sofa, thinking, "What's going on here?" Like I'm on this side, so it's sport. Do you know what I mean? Like that's what it seemed like. So all in all, Harry Kane for me ain't the guy. Ain't really taking off shots. We analysed his stats throughout the game against Scotland. It was non-existent. He got bullied, and that's not something you want to see from one of your top players, say to speak. Yeah.
Yeah. So, if it was like a yes or no, would you drop Kane tomorrow?
Yeah, I will.
Okay, so Jalil would drop Kane, and obviously he's made a lot of good points there about Kane and his struggles. And big up Demo from the Near Post podcast. Make sure to go subscribe to them. saying, yes, the lads, how much do you think Levy will accept for Kane? 120 million. Well, exactly. This comes off the day of Man City offering 100 million up front for Harry Kane, plus one of Sterling, Laporte, or Gabriel Jesus and Tottenham are turning it down, which shows that the value that Harry Kane clearly has in the market. So this is why we're asking the question, and KD saying we shouldn't be surprised Kane ain't the guy to turn up in clutch moments. Well, you know what I'm saying? So that's a different question. But yeah, Rash, man, like Harry Kane, like as Jalil said, he's been awful if we're being up front. You know, as I pull up the stats, which I can pull up very quickly again here, you can see it here, 6 in 12 games. It really isn't great when you look at who he scored it against, like Panama's, Tunisia's. There's a lot of stat padding in there, which people like Lukaku get slaughtered for, flat track volley and all of that stuff. None of that's mentioned with Harry Kane. He won an MBE for that. Let's not forget. So yeah, man, talk to me, Harry Kane.
The problem with Kane right now is that there's a big question and a big discussion that people are having in groups behind closed doors. Okay, and the discussion is Harry Kane on a decline? Has he peaked?
Ooh.
Okay. Did he peak in the season? And is he on the way down? Is that the best we can see from him? And is that the best he can do? And is he exhausted now? Or has he reached his maximum potential? I mean, we all know his ankles are glass. Do you know what I mean? He suffers from them a lot. You know, he has on and off moments, but last season was really good for him. However, is there anything more that he can bring to the table? I mean, you see those stats internationally, they're not terrific, okay? Especially when you put them into perspective of who he was scoring those goals against. Do you know what I mean? Plus the penalty that he did score against Colombia, I believe it was, right?
Yeah. Colombia.
So you got to kind of see the team that's around him, and I see a lot of young, vibrant, fast players. Do you know what I mean? That kind of need pass and move, a lot of movement up front, people running in between the lines, people who's
sharp.
not going to very sharp, you know.
Very sharp.
I mean, we know what Kane can do, but that's not his style of play. Yeah, and I've seen over the years that he's starting to evolve from just a natural goal scorer to a more of a footballer as well in different attributes, an all-round game. And I think the last season stats with him scoring, what was it, 14 goals or something? How many goals did he score? How many assists he got? He got 14 assists.
Yeah, I think 14 assists, 23 goals.
23 goals. Like, now, in the Premier League, Harry Kane's always going to bang goals. He's always going to bang goals, and we know that. He's always been in the runnings for the Golden Boot all the time. Yeah. But the fact that he kind of had those assists as well I think that has made people all of a sudden think that he is better than what he actually is. And they are expecting a lot more from Harry Kane than what he really can actually produce. I mean, you got to look at Tottenham. Tottenham is built so that Kane can exist, so that Kane can shine. You know, it is built around him. He is their talisman. Okay, but with England, there's a lot of individual players who are amazing. You know what I mean? So, and they want their own shine. They do their own thing. They play for different clubs. They do things differently. And Southgate is not, to me, a strategist like that, where he can kind of build a team around a player like Kane. You know, so I mean, look, it's clear that he's had 2 poor performances in the Euros. Okay, would I start him next game? I probably would. I'm not gonna lie, I probably would start Kane next game, but I'll definitely sort out the men that's just behind him as well. Okay, bring in a few more creative players that can bring the ball a bit more closer to the box, so that Kane can hang in and around where he likes to, around the edge of the box where he likes to pick it up and then whack it into the top corner or something like that. And then you have other guys running off of him, possibly a midfielder going ahead of him as well, like that, because he seems to like to drop back a lot these days. But it would really be, I need to see how this guy is playing up until half time. And if half time we
Yeah.
get the same old bullshit that he's been producing in the Euros so far, it's definitely time to bring in another striker to see what they can bring to the game. But as for me, in regards to Harry Kane, there's a lot of question marks over his head, and his stock is going down as the longer this tournament goes on. Levy's going to have a problem if he wants to bring out if he's expecting the big prices, which I'm expecting. He's probably waiting for an offer of about 150 million before he starts talking. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Or that's what he's expecting in and around that. And maybe if someone brings up 130, then he can probably bring them up to 140. That's probably what he's trying to hope. But as the games go on, if he keeps having these tired performances, it's not going to be good for him. And I think that offer that City gave for him today could be the best offer that he gets if the Euros continue like this.
Yeah, I agree. And and I think you said that very, very well. And I think that assist thing, I think, is huge because, again, context is very important. Harry Kane got 14 assists this season, but people forget to recognize that 11 of those were in the first 7 games. He got 3 in his last 31. And before this season, he'd never got more than 6 assists in the season. He got 4 in one game this season for Son against Southampton. Sometimes anomalies happen over a short period of time. You know what I'm saying? Like Tammy Abraham had a period where I think he scored 8 in 3 games, and then he had like 6 in 30. Sometimes these weird things happen, and I think after he did that, maybe even Kane himself thought, you know what? I can do it all. I can come back and still get up front. And I think he's struggling right now to do that. I think his best attribute is still his goal scoring ability. And he really just needs to focus on that. If he was staying up front and not getting the ball, then people could have more of a case of people behind him. But with you dropping back all the time, then you're making it a bit harder on yourself, to be honest, because you're the number 9. So,
and
so,
you know what,
man.
just touching on what you were saying just there regarding Son, I think Son got 18 goals this season.
Yeah, like 17, 18,
like 18 goals this season. Okay. Now, when you've got a prolific goal scorer alongside you like that as well, because Son has been consistent for years, brilliant player.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. You can kind of rely on that, you know, and they have a nice relationship where he knows where Kane is going to run. He'll run off to another run. He'll slip it back into where Kane was, and vice versa. But the people who he's playing with in the England squad, they're not prolific goal scorers like Son. They don't pull out 18 goals, 19 goals, 20 goals a season. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So it's a very different style of play tactically. He needs to get with it. But yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, you're right, 100%. At some point is a great one. They've got a great partnership understanding. They play together every week, so they know each other inside out. But yeah, Jeff, man, Harry Kane, bro, like, what's your thoughts on him? Obviously, Jalil said that he would drop him for tomorrow's game. Rasha said that he would stick with him probably for one more game, and then after that, time to try someone new. What are your thoughts on him? Like, what do you make of his whole performances?
Let's be clear, his performance ain't been good at all. And you wear the brunt when you're the best player. Like, that's just how it goes, isn't it? And that don't change. But England's creativity is terrible. Like, they're doing a Liverpool without the fullbacks at the moment. They've got 3 dynamic midfielders, and then they've got 2 fullbacks. Like in Liverpool's case, they got Robertson, they got Trent. So they're their cams. Liverpool have Shaw and James. It's not the same. So the reason why Kane is dropping so far back to me is because there's nothing going in. Like, he's not getting any of the ball. The players next to him aren't really doing much. He's not doing much. But that's for Kane to work in his true number 9 fashion. Even the thing at Spurs, if I'm honest, if Spurs had a cam, an able cam, would Kane have to do that? Would Kane be dropping as far back as he had to? Like,
no,
I don't think that would. I don't think that would happen. So even the assist thing, like, I do agree. It kind of like the stars just aligned. It just happened. Don't get me wrong. He's become a better player because of it. And what kind of happened is he's always tried to do that, but people just converted his chances, his creations last season, or Son did, because he assisted how much for Son? 10, 11?
Yeah, something like that. Something stupid like 10.
Yeah. But if if Spurs had a creative cam, who could put him in regularly, then he wouldn't be dropping that far back. And it's the same thing for England. Like in the first game, I said it. I said Kane is dropping 30 yards to come and get the ball, to try and start an attack. Like that shouldn't happen. Like it shouldn't be 3 dynamic midfielders. Why don't you play Grealish in there? Why don't you play Foden? Why doesn't someone else? When you play Mount in the attacking role rather than playing Calvin Phillips? There's so many questions. So I don't really think, like, I know that there's questions, but I think that's just reactionary questions, to be honest. Because 3 months ago, we weren't talking like this. Like, it's just all of a sudden that England are playing badly, Kane's playing badly, that Kane on the decline. No, to me. He's not on the decline. Yeah. You can say he might have peaked. The peak is very high, though. So even if it plateaus, like, is he still one of the best strikers in the world if it plateaus? Yes, definitely. Yeah. So I think a lot of that is just reactionary, like, tabloids. It happens. Like, it's meant to happen. When you're carrying the flag for the country, and it goes. All of this comes back down to English media, to me, because when you build people up like this is what happens. Even England, you're saying England were what, favorites coming into this?
Yeah, one of the favorites was joint favorites. Yeah,
like how can you be favorites?
Yeah,
how? So like this is my problem with like England. In fact, they set their expectations so high when you're still talking about 1966. It's been 55 years. You're still talking about 1966. Like, you're setting yourself up for failure. So I don't think he gets any real service. Maybe he should be dropped, but I would play him next game. I would change the 3 behind him, or one of the 3 behind him. I'd see how it goes. Maybe like Rash said, if it's 60 minutes in and he's still not doing anything, then you drag him off. Sancho, the Sancho thing, I'm not mad at him not playing, but not getting not starting, but not getting minutes. Like, that's wild. Like, the first game he didn't even make the bench. The second game he was an unused sub. That doesn't make sense. Like, even if you're gonna give him 15 minutes, give him something. Like, how is one of the best England wide men just sitting there unused? So there's a lot of problems. The Kane thing, I don't think he's necessarily declining, because, like I said, he's just come off the back of his best season. Like, the two don't correlate to me. But there's an institutional England problem. I'll say it like that, and it's always going to be like that, because the English media and English fans are always going to gas them up to make them seem like they're something they're not. You're not favorites. You're not France. Like, how are you joint favorites? Like, how are we talking about England and Mbappe and co in the same breath? Like, England are just not, like, even when they've got to a semi-final in the weirdest way. Like, you put it in context, that what has really happened? Nothing has happened. There's been a golden era of Gerrard, Lampard, Beckham, Scholes. Scholes had to retire. He played left wing. There's this new cusp of greatness, like all these young players, and we're seeing the same thing. At some point, you got to acknowledge that it's an England problem. It don't matter who you put there.
Yeah, 100%. And I think there's definitely some English curse to it, but I think they really just have to get the right manager, because I feel like they tried with Capello to get the right man, and obviously that didn't work out at all in the end. Then they went down the Roy Hodgson route, very safe, conservative manager, didn't work. And then they kind of stumbled into Southgate, and because of the lucky nature of the World Cup in 2018, where they played Sweden, I think, Colombia, like even Croatia, when you look at Croatia in the semi-finals, you can't really ask for much more if you're England. That's who you want to play in a semi-final of a World Cup. And you still can't get that job done when you're winning at half-time. So, like, you can't make it up. And, I think the Harry Kane thing, there's a lot of reactionary stuff to it. When you look at his, like we showed, his deeper stats at tournaments, then it might bring up a bigger question about how he performs at tournaments for England. Lewandowski is actually similar for Poland. Never really usually turns up, which then brings up a question that, not everyone can do it in both levels. Some people are just club players. Some people are both. Just, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, man. But I guess with the Harry Kane thing, so obviously, Jeff, you're saying starting tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll say starting.
Rash, you're saying starting tomorrow. And Jalil, you're saying who? And then Jalil, who you saying start up top tomorrow? Calvert-Lewin. You're on mute.
You're on mute.
You're on mute, bro.
Apologies. So I would actually start with Rashford and then bring on Kane later on. Kane will definitely feature. I feel like the game just needs to be open for him to make a bit of an impact. Just at the moment, I think confidence has been a bit knocked. So I feel like Rashford can come on. Rashford has had his confidence knocked and he's still trying to run past players and do the Ronaldo thing. You know what I mean? Is try and shoot and stuff. So for me, not Calvert-Lewin. Maybe Calvert-Lewin towards the end of the game, put the balls in the box and that, get some headers. He wins all these headers. But Rashford for me, if I'm honest.
Yeah. Obviously, people, 7 of you in the chat, let us know who you'd start up from. Would you start Kane? Do you think he's peaked? What is going on with Harry Kane and the England situation? I think we've all got, if we all had our way, would we all start Sancho and Grealish tomorrow? I personally would.
I would have started them from the beginning.
Yeah, obviously.
Be honest. I think the whole Sancho situation is just very weird, and it's kind of it's very strange that the media don't already have a spin on it as well. Yeah, because usually they jump on these things unless you've heard something that I don't.
They do. They did today. Or I think Southgate came out and addressed it, and he said in a way he's trying to say he's protecting players' inexperience, which is a damn lie.
Why are you playing Foden?
Yeah, it's a damn lie, but cool.
Yeah, that's rubbish. And there's that thing where they believe that, look, just because he plays in Germany in the Bundesliga, that somehow it can't be transferred onto top flight football like the Bundesliga, don't like they don't know what they're doing over there. You know what I mean? Like Munich and Dortmund and Wolfsburg and stuff couldn't challenge most English clubs anyway. So it's kind of weird. It's kind of a weird thing that's going on, especially when you see the boy's talent and how much is attributed towards the game, and even in his team. I mean, there'll be times that Dortmund, it looked like he's having a bad game. It will look like he's having a bad game. And then in the last 20 minutes, he's just the best player on the pitch, and he'll probably score 2 or 3 goals, or set up one, score a goal, and set up another one, and then he ends up getting man of the match. Like, he's a talent that can't just be left on the bench. And like Jeff said, he hasn't had any minutes. That alone shows that there's something going on. Something going on behind closed doors, because to play Foden, who is younger, more inexperienced, I'm trying to say, than him as well, to even playing Phillips, he doesn't seem to have a problem playing Phillips. Played him 2 games in a row, and internationally he hasn't had more games than Sancho. So what Jeff said, that his excuses for it doesn't seem to be adding up. He just needs to not do the idiot thing that most people think he's going to do, which is play Henderson and then Mandem instead. Do you know what I mean? And just play the safe game and just go out knowing that he's got to try and top the group. He's got to try and get some serious results, because right now, I don't see any confidence that England's going to do anything that's going to get them through. Not with that team anyway.
I think. Oh no, you go, Jalil. You go.
Go on, Jalil.
I'm sorry. I was just gonna go off the back of that in regards to the Henderson thing. I'll quick run through my 11 starting tomorrow, boys. Quickly, back 4, leave it the same. Back 4, leave it the same. Henderson comes in.
Sorry, Jalil. I was actually going to ask. This is probably the last chance Southgate will get to play Maguire. If Maguire doesn't play this game, he's not going to throw him into the last 16. Would you put him back in, or are you fine with Mings? I'm fine with Maguire.
I'm fine with Mings. I wouldn't bring Maguire back in, because for me, they're exactly the same player. Mings is just left-footed, and he's just playing. So he's getting game time. So exactly. I don't think anyone will disagree with me. But all in all, I would bring Henderson back in. I would play Grealish. I wouldn't play Grealish on the left. I'll still have Sterling stretching them from the left.
Okay.
Sancho will be on the right. Rashford up top. Middle three will be. This is where it gets sticky. Grealish has to be in my middle three, along with Henderson and maybe one other Mount if he's fit. And that would be my team. Henderson just sit in front of defence like he used to do for Liverpool. As I think Jeff kept mentioning, Rice ain't been about. Do you know what I mean? For the last couple of games, Phillips has done his job. I think for the first 2 games, I think he can rest for the rest of the tournament, in my opinion. And yeah, that's what I'd go with.
For the rest of the tournament, just shocked him.
I hope he proves me wrong, man.
Yeah. Now, hopefully. I mean, Jeff Rash, any disagreement with Jalil's lineup there?
Yeah, go on, Jeff.
I'll get Mings the hell out of there fast. Fast. Especially as the tournament progresses, because England are probably going to go through because they're either going to go through as like a third place team or second. So Mings,
you don't think they'll come first? I think they're coming first, bro.
They're coming first. Come on.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
That means they have to lose to Czech Republic to not come first. No, actually, no. They can draw with Czech Republic and they'll still finish second. That is possible.
It's possible.
They'll beat Czech Republic, though. Surely.
Yeah, but we said surely they should beat Scotland, man. Well, some people thought that, except for Jeff.
Just a strange. I would never putting my money on England to win is something I can't do. It's like betting with Arsenal. It's like you never know what you're getting. I would never do it. But yeah, I'd probably drop Mings. Rice would go. Mount's probably not going to play because he's self-isolating. So I'd probably put Grealish as one of my midfield 3. I'd put Rashford on the left, Kane through the middle. I'll try Sancho on the right. That's what I'll do. We tried the Foden thing. It hasn't quite come off yet. I still don't think that's totally his fault. But why not try Sancho? And last year, when Sancho was linked with Manchester United, he was getting all of these plaudits. People were loving Sancho. All right, he didn't have the best of seasons at the start. He finished well. I guess part of that was because he wanted to leave, not because his talent has just suddenly evaporated. If you go on actual natural talent, he's probably the most talented out of those wide players, in my opinion.
Yeah,
so
I agree with that.
Why not try him? I'll put Rashford, Sancho, Kane. Grealish should be in my midfield 3. Would I play Henderson? Possibly, because I think he's fit. Personally, I think he's probably been fit for a little while. They're just protecting him.
Well, again, I think for him and Maguire, they have to play tomorrow. If they don't play tomorrow, it's madness to throw them into a lockout game.
That'd be nuts.
That would be nuts, but it wouldn't surprise us really with Southgate.
He's
Rash,
drunk,
what are you saying?
You know what? Look, I wouldn't mind seeing Sancho, Kane, and Saka as a front 3.
Oh shit!
Wild
card.
I wouldn't mind seeing that. Do you know what I'm trying to say? I mean, energy. Last time the boy played, he scored a goal. You know what I mean? He's very creative. He carried Arsenal for the whole season. He was their best player, and he's a young player. I mean, he's been waiting to play in this tournament. He's very excited about it. And I think that maybe it's time that the boy gets a debut. And to put him up there attacking with someone like Sancho, where he can probably interchange and change sides with throughout the first half and so forth like that, it might be very good creative-wide. I mean, he's a very creative player and he creates a lot of chances, and so does Sancho. And I think that's something what Kane needs. If they can have someone like a Grealish behind them, and as Jalil said, probably like a Hendo and a Mount, but Mount's probably not going to be there, man. I think I've had many discussions about this, and a lot of people don't agree with me, but I think Rice is overrated. And I don't understand why his position is so cemented and undisputed in the England squad. I don't know why people are not throwing more question marks upon him, but it probably will be him because of the fact that Mount is self-isolating. And in regards to the backline, look, I'm always for a saying, if it's not broken, don't fix it. Do you know what I'm trying to say? And the boy Mings and Stones seem to be doing well together. They haven't put each other in danger. They seem to have a good understanding. And as much as I don't like Pickford, and I think he could catch the ball sometimes when he punches it out and stuff like that, he did pull off some good saves against Scotland. I mean, there was times when they could have equalized and it was just him, you know. So kudos to Pickford for that game. Do you know what I mean? You have to give props where it's due. So yeah, I wouldn't change the centre backs. The full backs, I mean, maybe it's time for us to see what's my man's name again? I can't figure it. No, my boy, City boy.
Oh, Kyle Walker.
Yeah, he needs to come back.
Maybe it's time for him to come back. He's been in the sin bin for long enough now. It's time.
Apparently, he went to training today and forgot his boots.
Oh,
what?
well,
he forgot his boots. Yeah.
Grown man, how are you forgetting your boots, bro?
It's going to battle without your sword. Oh shit!
They going to exam with no pen. Like, what's going on?
Do you know what I'm trying to say? So yeah, like I think it's time that maybe we see Walker in. Walker can also bring in a lot of speed into the attack as well. Look, they just need to try something different. I'm throwing out some names that I think they deserve to have a chance in this tournament. You know what I mean? And it'll be good to see some of them boys on the pitch.
Yeah. No, well said. I think all the lineups that you guys have named are a lot more fluid than the lineups that Southgate's putting out. It's a very stiff lineup, so hopefully he tries something different. Whether he will or not,
doubt it.
I doubt it. To be honest, I doubt it. And
look at his face. Look at his face. He ain't doing nothing. Look at that.
I've been laughing at Southgate personally for like 25 years. That is not going to stop. It's been a long time I've been laughing at him personally.
That grey kit. I always remember him in that grey kit.
When he booted the hell out of the floor.
Looking up to the sky.
That's why Wembley had to shut down. He ruined the whole turf.
Hey, speak for Southgate. Oh man, but yeah, man. Listen, people, smash the likes. Let's get them likes up. If you're new, subscribe. Good debate on England right there. Some good analysis, discussion on Harry Kane. But let's move on to some of the other weekend's action. Obviously, Germany, Portugal. For everyone that knows it, Portugal, one of the teams that I follow, that I'm rooting for, and I was very worried about this game. I knew Germany, with the way they play, Portugal are not that disciplined without the ball. Germany have a good system in place, and they showed good signs against France. And they put all that together to absolutely slap Portugal. If we're being honest, it shouldn't have been 4-2. Should have been about 5-6-1 easily if Germany had their shooting boots on. And also because they stopped trying with about 30 minutes to go. They took off their main players and just said, nah, this game's over. So now Portugal are on the real threat of potentially going out of the group stages, or if not, they're going to have to do what they did 5 years ago and scrape through as a third-place team unless they beat France. Never know. That could happen as well. France weren't convincing. We'll touch on them. But yeah, Jalil, man, Portugal got slapped by Germany 4-2. So I guess two things. Did we overrate Portugal? Because I think we had them making the final. And are Germany now actually contenders?
To your first question, no, they're not overrated. And to your second question, Germany were always up there for me anyway, personally. But what I will say is I see a lot of resemblance with Portugal and England playing two holding mids. The only difference between Portugal and England, the only difference between Portugal is they've got someone that's a killer called CR7, whereas we've got someone called Kane. So if you look at the bigger picture there, he's got to think I'm taking. He's got to think I'm taking. Yeah, he's got to think I'm I'm not trying to take things like that, but I know how it's coming across anyway. But if we look at the bigger picture, that game was whoever can score the most. Let's be real. It was going to be 4-3. You know, Portugal was still on the attack. That Sancho fella coming to midfield and just turned the game around, bro. He's.
Oh yeah, man. Renato. Yeah, bad boy.
I haven't heard his name being ringed all season until they won the League One. So he's very active, man. But all in all, man. Yeah, Germany. Yeah. So yeah. It was pretty much who can score the most. That was all it was. Who can score the most? And unfortunately, Germany came up on top of Portugal. Germany still have some weak points, some weak points there. I can't really pinpoint them, but they seem to be doing well with that three at the back. They seem to be killing it. I just feel like for the Portugal game, for the Portugal versus France game, they need to not go in with two DMs. They need to go in with one DM and Sancho sitting right next to whoever that is, because Sancho can do that box-to-box business. And keep the same attacking lineup you have, and don't change the back line. I think Pepe, I don't know how he's 38 and still doing that, man. This guy's still got pace on him and stuff. Like, it's a bit ridiculous to see. It gives a lot of people hope.
Hey, first appearance.
I'm sorry. Do you know what? I kept looking. I kept losing my telephone. I kept hearing him. But
you knew he was coming.
You missed it. That's why I just went black screen. I had to sort that out before that happened to me.
I should have done that, man. I should have done that. Sometimes I think the missus does it on purpose to say it's time to get off. Do you know what I mean? Nah, I'm playing. Sorry, lost train of thought. So yeah, going back here, it was just a battle of who could do the best, and I feel like Portugal can still do it. I don't think they're underrated. I feel like they can still do it against France, because we saw that France are leaking. They could leak them a few goals. They just need to not play two DMs, and the manager just needs to go some balls like Southgate. So that's what I'm going to go at.
Yeah. I think that's actually well said. I think the two DM thing for Portugal is really holding them back, and Rash, like, talk to me, man. Obviously, Germany slapped Portugal, and someone who's not really getting spoken about is, Bruno Fernandes. He pulled in for me basically a 0 out of 10, virtually invisible, but no one's really speaking about that. So, do Portugal have a problem there with Bruno?
Listen, first of all, I want to just say about Germany. I told you not to sleep on these guys. I told you that we shouldn't be writing them off, and I told you it'll probably be them and France in the final. That's who I think is going to be in the final of this whole tournament. So look, I think the Germans did what they did. They're very regimented. I'm trying to say they're very drilled. The manager, he's got experience. He knows what he's doing. Yeah, he knows how to win games. He knows how to win tournaments. Okay. They were always going to be a threat, but people just couldn't see where it was going to be coming from until they go into the individual players in the German squad, and you realize, hold on, they've got a real squad here. So I think they were slept on too much, and I think people was expecting a bit too much from Portugal and even France. I mean, I hold France up very highly in this tournament. You know what I'm trying to say? But as you see, it's not really working out for them as it planned as well. So, but back onto the Germany-Portugal game, it was exciting football. It was really good. I mean, look, it was I can't say it was unlucky of the two own goals, because they came through great balls put into the box. You know what I'm trying to say? Defenders having to make some sort of commitment to the ball, having to put in some sort of challenge, because the balls were dangerous that was coming across to them. And if it wasn't going to go to them, it was going to go to the striker. Havertz kind of flopped. He actually missed the shot. And unfortunate for Diaz, he banged it. He banged it in the roof. Banged that one in the roof.
That's in the team still.
Two of my players.
To be fair, Ronaldo scored 2 for you today.
Yeah, as well. Ronaldo on fire today as well too.
Haven't scored that day as well. I remember. Do you know what was funny? In the chat, Rash must have got onto me. He's like, "Oh yeah." So because I put in the chat like Havertz. Do you know what I mean? And then Rash was like,
You was like,
we on back.
you was trying to be boastful. You was like, oh, that's all my players are really doing good the ones that I drafted are doing good, aren't they? I was like, oh, they haven't scored that, did he?
So I must have disappeared for a bit, and then when Hannah scored, I put the eyes in the group chat. Let me know.
Yeah.
I'm watching you.
I did see that. Yeah.
But yeah, man. I mean, the fact that Germany looked like they were going to wipe the floor with them if they continued in that way as well. Until obviously, like you said, they decided to make some subs and say, "Listen, we've got this." You know, the only goal scorer that we know is amazing that is actually performing in this in this tournament is Ronaldo. You know, and like, what can you say? Do you know what I mean? He's just quality, isn't it? And he does what he has to do. He oozes skill, quality, control, do you know what I mean? And confidence as well every time he gets the ball. Do you know what I mean? Every time that he's on the pitch, maybe something can happen. And he tried, but you know, it didn't work out. Jota, I don't think he had a good game until he scored, you know what I'm trying to say? So
yeah, I agree.
So that's lucky for him. That's probably made him be able to start the next game. Do you know what I mean? But in reality, I'll be thinking about trying to bring on Joao Felix now and see what's going on in that department, because I really think he can add an extra bit of flair for them up front. Now, the invisible man. The reason why he's not talked about is because no one can't see him. You know what I'm trying to say? He doesn't do much. I saw him run out of position a lot of times. Like, I saw him far too forward than he should be. I see him complaining and moaning. I see him trying. He's just not physically ready for this thing. Do you know what I'm trying to say? He just seems like. Do you remember when Ronaldo first started when he first started playing for Manchester United, and he was he was skinny kid and just getting dashed about. Do you know what I mean? And complaining. That's like where he is. The only thing is that Fernandes has been gassed up far too much, and I think even his own players are getting pissed off at him, because I saw some facial expressions from Ronaldo and them and there when he was playing some of those balls, like to say, "Come on, bruv. Like, come on, fam." Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I think Jalil hit the nail on the head with the two defensive midfielders. I think they probably need to be a bit more risky, but at the same time, they can't be getting caught on the counters and stuff like that, like how Germany had them on the ropes. So at the same time, I understand them having them holding midfielders, you know, because you can't be getting beat up like that. And if you're playing a team like France, who's got that pace, who's got a Kante in the middle, do you know what I mean? Who's got Pogba up there, you've got Griezmann, who's having the tournament of his life. Do you know what I mean? I think he's really playing really well. You got Mbappe as well, who every time he touches the ball, it's like he's on ice skates. Do you know what I mean? And Benzema, who looks like he's got a point to prove. Like, I can't see Portugal coming out on this on the light side. I think this tournament is over for them. You know what I mean? And I think unless Germany have a mare and somehow, which they won't, and Portugal can do something against France, which I can't see them doing. I just think this is the end for them, man. This is the end of their tournament.
Yeah, and I think you said it. You hit the nail on the head. I think when we did our Euro 2020 predictor, I think we had Germany in the semis, and I think a few people hit me up afterwards saying, "Right, you guys are overrating Germany. How the hell they could be going out group stages, last 16?" And I think, you know, it shows that we proper actually looked at Germany's team and realized it's not as bad as people think. They had a bad World Cup. You can bounce back from that. That's what it was. You know, there was a lot of things going on with Ozil and everything else, just bad energy in the camp that I think played an impact too. And I think sometimes you need to be humbled a bit when you've been playing well for years like they were, to refresh yourself, reset. And I think that's what they've done. This three at the back suits them, the profile of players they have. And I think if they get the right matchup, they could easily make the final. At the moment, like if they were to finish second, let's say France beat Portugal and finish second, they'll face England in the last 16. And I can't lie, England, Germany at Wembley, Germany ain't going to be fazed by no fans in the stadium.
Yeah,
that's one of the few teams that will not be fazed.
I do think in the next game, look, I think Fernandes should be dropped, man. And I think Sanchez needs to start, to be honest. I think Rafa, when he comes on his high energy as well, you got to give that boy a chance as well, man. Start the game.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Fernandes needs to be dropped for Sanchez. And I would also look to take out one of the two DMs and bring in Joao Moutinho for a little bit more control in the midfield. He's getting on a bit, but you can still see he's got that class, knowing where to stand, knowing how to just pop the ball. And then obviously Joao Felix hasn't seen a minute in two games. And I think if England had a talent like him and he didn't see any game time in 2 minutes, the manager would get eviscerated. Because to not get any game time, there's no justification for it in my eyes.
You see the similarities in the two teams with the two managers as well, with their top talents.
Top talents, but and I think what we're seeing in this Euros is that there's a big difference between the quality of managers at international level and club level. The only manager who's I'm looking at the moment, I'm saying you're getting more out of your players is Mancini, because I didn't know Italy could play like this. They made 8 changes yesterday and played the same style. You know what I'm saying? So, and Verratti looked good yesterday, but obviously, I think that's something we can discuss. But obviously, people, I need to head off now. I got my football, but before I head off, obviously, the guys are going to touch on the France game as well. But I'll leave it to you, Jeff. Man, just to talk about the Portugal-France game and whether you think Portugal will be going out at the group stages, which is crazy to say because they're the holders. But people, make sure to keep smashing the likes. Make sure to engage in the chat. And if you're new, subscribe. Obviously, I'll be back Wednesday with my guys. But for now, lads, peace out, and I'll see you all Wednesday, innit? Peace, guys. Peace.
John, man. Take care, brother.
Peace. Take care.
I think most things have been said about the Portugal-Germany game, to be honest. Portugal I even said in the first game, they won 3-0, but it weren't convincing. Was it 3 goals in 10 minutes? Something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
What just seems to happen is they got a better team, but they're still resting their laurels on a 36-year-old.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like. Ronaldo is Ronaldo. Like, he's never not going to show up. And it seems like a lot of those players just seem to be hiding. Bruno has had a poor... If we're totally being honest, that the numbers say something different. It's been an average season.
Yeah.
Average. But the numbers tell a different story. He hasn't played well in a while. And he's kind of dragged that form into this tournament and just carried it on. So maybe he should be dropped. Maybe they should try something else. Maybe they should rejig their formation a little bit. But I think Portugal may make it through because Portugal. I think they'll make it through. Because 3 teams can potentially go through. So I think there'll be one of them that'll make it through. I think Ronaldo will do something as he always does. But I also think that someone like Ruben Diaz, for example, looked great for Manchester City all season until the Champions League final. But even him, he hasn't looked great this tournament. He didn't look great in the first game to me. Lucky to stay on the pitch. And again, didn't look great. I think Portugal are just a bit of a shaky team, man. And if they play the same way, that we're going to touch on France. Like, France had a hiccup. But listen, like, if Mbappe's shooting boots aren't on yet, he had several shots. He was destroying them. But it just wasn't coming. It wasn't ending in a goal. So if France play in the same fashion, it's not going to be 15 shots and 1 goal. I'll tell you that. They're going to be 3 or 4 because Portugal are shaky. But and let's move on to that game, I guess.
I was going to ask you boys, man. I want to get John's perspective of this as well. But like, I know we're talking about Harry Kane taking a dip, but arguably Benzema has got into this squad now, playing really well for Real Madrid. It's not been their best season, but we know he's a killer, right? What's going? What do you think it is that he's lacking? Because that goal he took, he had a few shots which all should have been goals. If someone else was to take it, I'll say it. You know, if Ronaldo or Messi was to be on those balls, the back of the net, mate. But is it nerves coming back into the squad and having all this pressure on you coming back into the squad, or is he gonna come? Is he gonna come back fighting? What's going on with the kid?
Well, I think with Benzema, look, he's not having bad games. Yeah, he's just not having his best games, and that's what I'd say. He's very much involved in the link-up play. Yeah, he's missed a couple opportunities that I think normally he would have put in the roof of the net, put behind the keeper, definitely 100%. Especially that one where the ball was played into him and he kind of went to hit it first time with the volley and it sliced and went wide. You would obviously you can see what he meant to do. He wanted to put it back into the corner which it came from, but normal Benzema would have put that away. This Benzema seemed to have some struggle, but the goal that he did put away, that was disallowed for being offside. I think in the previous match. I mean, it shows that it shows that there's something to come, and I believe that the boys around him are gonna definitely set him up to do something and score some goals, because they kept on feeding him the ball for those opportunities. It wasn't like they said, all right, do you know what, this ain't working, we're going to play it off to someone else now. They want him to get onto the ball, they want him to score goals, and I think if he does bag a goal, it'll mean as much for them as it does for him as well. Do you know what I mean? So I'd say give him another game just to see what happens, man. I'm not totally unconvinced of Benzema. I don't think he's got nerves. Benzema's a G, you know what I'm trying to say? I can't see the man being nervous, you know what I mean? And I just think, just give him chance just to gel in, find his feet again into the national squad. And I think once he does, it will be great. But France, they played some amazing football, man. And I really like the way they play. They play fast attacking football. I like Kante in the middle, man. He's sick. We've got what's the other boy's name in the middle, man?
Rabiot.
Rabiot puts it like he is very he's impressed me because he's impressed me going forward. Do you know what I'm trying to say? The boy's got really good techers, you know what I mean? Good feet. He's got a good football brain as well. Him and Kante have been really good in that midfield. Griezmann has been like really good. Do you know what I'm trying to say? I'm really impressed with Griezmann. Do you know what I mean? Like he's got a lot of passion in his game. Like for instance, in the World Cup when he played, he seemed more like a sideman to the other superstars. Do you know what I'm trying to say? But now he's letting the world know that he is actually needed in this French squad. If things are going to happen, it can happen through him. If goals are going to come, it can come through him. But not just that, he's going to work hard in the midfield, in the defense, and in the attacking play as well. Mbappe, like every time he goes forward, I think he's going to score. I don't know why. I just think he's going to score every time he touches the ball and goes forward. I'm just like, he's just got too much pace. He's too strong. He's got too much skill. Hungary, they did very well to hold them, and they did very well to get their goal as well. I actually applauded their goal. I was actually happy for them. The fact, so I think it gave the French team something to chase, because I think they do think as well that this tournament's ours, so there might be a bit of arrogance about them that they don't really have to dig deep. But Hungary showed that they do, But again, with people in the back, Varane and these people like that, I can't see them losing to Portugal in the next game.
Fair enough, man. Fair enough. Lot in there, Jeff. What are you saying?
Yeah, Benzema thing. I think it's just, I don't know if it's nerves, but sometimes when it's just not your day, like you might miss a few, and then doesn't matter what you do, the ball's just not going in the net. I think there was a lot of that against Hungary, but thing with France, they're going to carve out several chances. So he'll get his goal. He'll probably come in the next game. Mbappe too. Because, Mbappe, like Rash is saying, like, I think I even said it in our group. I said, out of the young players in the world, they're here, he's here. Mm-hmm. It's different. Right. It's just different. The application is just different. Like, he is a star already. Like I've said it in previous shows, he is the biggest player in PSG. It's not Neymar to me. Neymar might be better, but Mbappe is the bigger player to me. Just yeah, it's just the application. It's just the fearlessness. And when he picks up the ball, he knows exactly what he's going to do. Some of these young players, they're good. They got a lot of ability, but they don't exactly know what they're going to do. Mbappe knows exactly what he's going to do to a defender when he picks up the ball. So, yeah, I think France are personally going to wipe the floor with Portugal. But I still think Portugal will probably make it through. Just because, this 3-team thing is odd. They did this last tournament. So there's still a way in for them, even if they lose to France.
What I'd say is, it's obviously going to sound out of this world, but I feel like Giroud needs to come in for Benzema. Do you know why? I've just got to be real. And I said this to a few boys, and if they've seen it, I've just played a few clips back. But Giroud's play is like ridiculous. Like, he doesn't need to be the most attractive, skillful person, but the person that can make Mbappe, fan space from Grealish fan space is the person that you need. The person that can link up with those two kind of players going forward is the player that you need. And Giroud was only on for God knows how long, 2 minutes or something, or maybe 10 minutes, 5 minutes. It felt like 2 minutes anyway. And he done everything right. Not saying that Benzema hasn't got it. I'm just saying that if you want that kind of link-up play, you're probably going to get better off of Giroud than you're going to get off Benzema. And there's an argument to be had there, lads. And I'm pretty sure you've got a rebuttal for me, guys. So let me hear it.
Jeff, do you want to go ahead?
I'll say that I'd hear it if there was like an issue with France's fluency, but there isn't. Like, the way they're opening up teams is easy. Like, even against Germany, like, they could have won by a couple. They could have. So yeah, I guess in the World Cup in 2018, it made sense because they were playing Dembele and they were trying out the speed thing. And it was like Dembele, it was Mbappe, and it was Griezmann up top, and it just wasn't working out. Like, you could see that they needed a little change, but so far France, even though they slipped up yesterday, or not yesterday, a few days ago, I don't think Benzema is affecting their fluency, so I wouldn't say Giroud needs to come in yet. Like, maybe if he can come off the bench, like maybe if Benzema doesn't do the business against Portugal, then yeah, drag Benzema off, bring on Giroud. But yeah, I still think there's nothing affected in their play. They're still playing perfectly fine to me.
No, I hear that still.
I think I'd have to agree with that, man. I can see that. I can see what you're saying, and the link-up play that Giroud will bring in is brilliant because Giroud is brilliant at the link-up play. And there's a couple of balls that Benzema did put into Mbappe that was just slightly off. You know what I mean? That high one that he put into the box for him to header, it could have gone on the floor. There was no reason for him to actually put that in the air. He could have played it across the floor, which would have put Mbappe in for a better chance rather than trying to reach over a header and making it go sky high. But the rest of the play, they're clicking. You know what I mean? They are opening up the defense. They're attacking very well. They're moving the ball in and around the box and getting shots off. I just think it's for the boys just to find their mark, hit the target. Do you know what I mean? And once one of those goals goes in, I think the rest is just going to come flooding in.
Yeah, trust me. Big up John. It seems like the kid can't stay away from the shows. Jeez, John. No, joking. But no, so Dembele's out of tournament with a knee injury, lads. So this guy's always injured, isn't it? What does that mean? What does that mean? Does that mean their reserves can come in, like someone else can come in to add to the 26-man squad, or do they have to keep going? I know he gets a medal regardless. If they win, I know Dembele would get a medal. But does someone come in now, or do we just carry on as how we've been going?
I think they just carry on. I think it's too late. The final squad's been named.
That's right.
I don't know what's exactly going to happen. France have got options anyway. So there's Ben Yedder, there's Thomas Lemar, there's other people they can play. Did he make the squad? Maybe I'm wrong. I felt like he did, but I could be wrong.
I don't know. I'm not too sure.
But yeah, even if the direct replacement for someone like Dembele is Thomas Lemar anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I'm sure they weren't resting their laurels on Dembele. It's been 3 years of injuries for that guy. Jesus.
Yeah.
Did anyone
think anything different? You know what I'm trying to say? And I actually thought if he would come on the pitch, he'll go off injured anyway.
And he did.
It's a sad case because the boy is mad talented. You know what I'm trying to say? You can hit it with the left, hit it with the right. You see him come on the pitch and instantly, what did he do? He hit the post as soon as he came on. Do you know what I mean? So I just it's a sad case for him, man, because he's one of the players that I would really love to see in England, but he wouldn't make it a second in English football. He would get broken to pieces, man, and that's a sad thing, man.
I hope that in the next few years he can get himself together, stay fit. I hope it's just a young thing and there's just growth spurts and stuff, but he's had all kinds of injuries, so I really don't know at this point. He's had the fast twitch injuries, now it's a knee injury. Oh man, like
he needs to change his diet. He needs to eat some of mummy's cooking because he must be eating some of this European food that's just not sitting well with him, bro.
Well, he got bought for 135 million, and if we look at it, I don't know how many games he played for Barcelona. I'm gonna say it's less than 50. I could be wrong.
I was gonna say it's less than 25.
I was gonna say it's less than 40, but wait, I think it's definitely less than 50. We're going like that then, but then yeah. Have a look, but let's wrap up the show in regards to just doing a quick prediction on the England result tomorrow. I'm not sure any other big game tomorrow. No, because I know Croatia's playing Scotland and we're playing Czech Republic. So let's just do England. Quick score prediction, and then Rash will leave it to you for some last words and then take off. But yeah, Rash, go first, man. What do you think the score's going to be tomorrow for the England game?
Trying to predict the score is like trying to predict, as was said before, an Arsenal scoreline. I just don't know. I just don't know.
Mad.
It depends on the lineup, man. Like, if I see the lineup, then tomorrow I could send you a text message and say, all right, this is what I think it's going to be. But if there is no change in regards to the lineup and Southgate plays it safe again, man, I can see it. I don't know. 1-0 England. 1-0.
Jeff, what do you think?
You know what? I'm gonna go 1-1. I still don't think he's gonna win because I think Southgate is gonna, even just by his comments today, it doesn't look like he's planning on changing the team or to what some of the fans want. So I think it's gonna be same old rigid, boring England, and it's gonna be 1-1.
Yeah, I have to agree with you, boys. I don't think he's going to change anything. I think he's kept 2 clean sheets, and he's going to see that as a positive rather than a negative to what it should be. But yeah, I'm going to go with a 3-0 win for England.
Jesus.
Jeez.
I hope. I'm going to go. Yeah, I'm going to go with 3-0 win to England. But yes, that's it, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Please smash the like button and subscribe on the way out. Just before we go, I'm going to leave it to Rash to say a few words as we always do. Take it away, Rash.
Yeah, just want to make sure that the people haven't forgotten about the struggle going on in the Middle East, namely Palestine, and what they're dealing with, the illegal occupation of Israel, and they're still being removed from their homes. I mean, and look, I just want to bring something to your attention. The death of George Floyd, it brought a lot of attention around the world, and it spurred a lot of changes, and it made a lot of conversations being had. But we have to remember that this is the same police that are trained by the Israeli police. So the knees and the necks that we saw that we was really against that happened to George Floyd, that took his life, this is standard procedure over there in Palestine. The American police actually go to Israel to learn these same tactics as well. But these are things that are being put on not just grown men, but these are things that are put on children. Yeah, the highest arrest rate in Palestine is of children. Okay, people who are under the age of 13 years old. Yeah, women get shot and killed indiscriminately, and they don't care. They feel like they are actually doing something good when they do that because they're preventing the birth of another Palestinian. I saw a video that came up the other day where a bunch of what we would call bigoted, racist Israeli Jews, and I'm not saying that this is a Jewish thing, or namely a Zionist thing, but they came out and they were saying death to Arabs. You know, they have a clear agenda. They're saying they want to make them extinct. They want to ethnically cleanse them. This is a problem. Okay, anyone, if this was to come out of anybody's mouth, that this is a problem in regards to any race. Okay, so I want the people just to keep the awareness up, keep their heads to that news and see what's going on out there. And when you hear information about what's going on, spread the awareness, because things need to change. Okay, because as I've said many times, an oppression anywhere is an oppression everywhere. Okay, we are all mankind, and when one part of us is hurting, we should all feel it. We're one body. Okay, so let's just do what we should do, spread the awareness, keep the pressure on. Free Palestine.
Thank you, Rash. Well said. And we're out, guys. Peace.
Salam.